I'm sorry, that was quite disturbing. Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have a little bit of a different style Halloween tutorial for you. I have really been wanting to try and create a scary kind of mask, and I've always wanted to do a Scarecrow, I almost struggled to say that, makeup look, but I thought maybe this would be the best time to try and attempt a mask instead. So this is the Scarecrow mask that I have made. I was drawing inspiration from the incredible Scarecrow from Batman. Why was that so hard to think of? But a little bit of a simpler, not too full-on makeup look. Something that you can, of course, make ahead of time because that's always a nice way to go about Halloween. So for this mask, I've pretty much just used a face cast, some sculpting clay, and a mixture of corn flour and water to make a paste, a glue, similar to something that you'd make with paper mache glue. I wanted something that had set hard. There's probably other glues out there that you can buy already to do it, but that was just what I wanted to use. So I'm pretty sure you actually want to cook the corn flour and the water, kind of bring it to the boil, make it claggy, and then use it once it's cold. But really, the cost of this mask would probably be maybe under the $10 range. I can't really think. That's not including the clay and the face cast, just the actual products to make this. As Hesham, you can get relatively cheap. That's if you don't already have some lying around. So if you would like to see how to make this mask, keep watching. So I'm starting off with just some non-air drying clay and a reference photo, of course, and just building up the shape, roughly what I'd like on my face cast to begin with. I wanted some really overdramatic brows and some pretty over-the-top kind of big smiley mouth. Now, unlike the regular prosthetic sculpts that I'm used to doing, you don't really need too much detail on this base sculpt, as you will be applying a pretty thick material over the top, and it just won't pick up on all of those little details that I'm used to putting in. So don't worry about any small details, just keep the big shape there. So then I'm just taking this roll of Hesham and just cutting out the length of the material that I think I might want. Keep in mind at this stage I did think I was going to wrap it around the head, hence why they're so long. Now I started out with this craft glue, which worked reasonably well, but I wasn't very happy with it. It made the actual Hesham look a little bit wet, even when it had dried, so I wanted to go with more of a paper mache glue, which I do make soon, but until then, you're just gonna have to deal with this glue. I'd recommend starting with just the paper mache glue as well, as it will be what you need in the end. I would highly recommend as well to try and keep the form of the actual brow and the mouth and stuff. I'd recommend getting some pins and pinning the actual Hesham down once you have wet it with glue, just so it does hold that shape much nicer. It gives really sharp lines and it's really intense. If you don't do that, however, it's just not going to be quite as nice and formed to the face. As you can see, I've done that there. And once I have fully stuck it down and dropped the sponge in the actual glue, I just go over and completely cover the entire mask. Now don't worry about this, it will dry down to be clear. It might look a little bit maybe starchy, but it's really fine. See, as you can see there, it doesn't look starchy or wet at all. Now just with a mix of some brown paints, I'm just going in and applying just a reasonably dark brown. I do go in and apply a little bit darker to the center, but that to the mouth, keeping it pretty rough, guys. You don't want a nice, clean, sharp line. You want to smudge it out pretty much to the mouth and then to the eyes as well, and then fully let that dry down before doing the next step. So I thought I should probably add in a little bit of shading around the face, just so you can really see the brow bone, and on the nose I've got a little bit of a bump there as well to make it look like the fabric is actually folded over. So just going in and adding a little bit of detail with some paint. You don't need to go over the top here, guys. It's just a little bit of contouring. Let's just say we're contouring the mask. And then just going in with some hay or wood shavings from the craft store, I'm not sure what they were called, and just seeing what it would look like if I made it look like hay was pouring out of the mouth, as in the Scarecrow is being cut open and it's spilling. And I don't glue these down now, this is just playing around, seeing what kind of shapes I'd like. I also go in with little bits of Hesham and just see it to make it look like the mouth is being torn open as well. Just playing around with some ideas. I do go with this kind of concept, but with more of a lattice looking Hesham ribbon that I do have. So as you can see here, I do have that kind of lattice looking Hesham, and I just do that in kind of different size and shaped bits and pieces to make it look like the mouth is being stretched open or sewn shut, whichever you'd like to go with. So I just pin them down and then hot glue gun them to the actual face, just because I felt like the corn flour glue was not going to hold it in place quite enough. I then just go in with the hot glue gun and some of that little bit of hay before. Just be careful, the hot glue will be boiling hot, guys. Do not get it on your fingers. Be responsible and just stick that down underneath kind of the hessian that we've just laid over the top. I mean, I probably did this backwards and it would make more sense to lay that down first, but I kind of just filled in any spots that I thought might have needed it with that hay instead. Okay guys, so this is pretty much complete now. I was in the beginning planning on having it to be like a wraparound mask. However, I just don't think I'm going to be able to make that look good enough. So I am going to trim the little bits and pieces off the sides and just have it as a just over the face mask, if that makes sense, like not a whole head. So it'll just be sitting on here like that. So I'm just going to use some of this dark twine to put as the little tie up bit of the mask. So I am pretty much happy with the coloration of the mask. I didn't want to go too dark around the eyes. I wanted it to be more of like a naturally dirty brown than a black. So I am just going to take the NYX Jumbo pencil in brown and not black out my eyes, obviously, because it's going to be brown out my eyes, but that also makes it sound like poop. So just make your eyes brown. Now the good thing about this mask is you can actually talk behind it. It is not like strict on your chin as this big gaping mouth is substantially lower. There is also a little, I'm sorry, that was quite disturbing, a little hole in the mouth that you can drink through. I mean, I probably wouldn't eat. If you're willing to eat, I'd go behind, but you could of course put a straw through that little gap to drink and eat if you were going to wear this to a party. Now if I was to do this again, I'd probably want to form it a little bit more to the shape of my head. I did, of course, as you would have seen, done this on a face cast. Done? I'm not sure. But I think it's just the actual shape of the brow and the nose and everything is really good, but I just feel like the outside of it flares out instead of curves around. I think that is how I'd want to do it a little bit different. Now as well, this inside of the mask, as it is kind of that hessian, can get really scratchy. If you're going to wear it for a long periods of time, I reckon maybe try and fill in the bits where it's actually touching your skin, like here and on my forehead, and just anywhere that is kind of scratching. Maybe put some like little cotton rounds on the inside, just stick them on the inside. You won't be able to see it necessarily through the hessian, but it will just give your skin that little bit of protection as well. This is of course the first mask that I have ever made, so I am pretty impressed with how it did turn out, but I do see lots of room for improvement, and I am very excited to try and make another mask again. So if you do have any ideas or suggestions of masks that I could try and create, please leave them down below and I will have a little look-see. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!